Introducing a revolution in roofing. The elegance of Spain now in metal. At LCA Metal, we blend artistry with strength. Our metal sheets capture the classic charm of Spanish design while offering unmatched durability. Resistance to all weather, our sheets are as tough as they are beautiful. These sheets promise longevity and style. With LCA Metal, your roof becomes a statement. Proudly made in San Jacinto, California, our sheets are a testament to American craftsmanship and innovation. Each piece is crafted with precision and care, ensuring the highest quality. In San Jacinto, we not only embrace tradition, but also push the boundaries of technology to bring you the best in metal roofing. Choose LCA Metal for a roof that stands the test of time. Environmentally friendly, energy efficient, and stunningly beautiful, our metal sheets are more than just a choice. Call or visit us today at 951-654-2874.
Used to box. There used to be a gym in San Diego called Boxers for Christ. And that always really stuck to me. So when I opened up, that I wanted to name it Boxing for Christ, because I said anything that we do, we would do for Christ.
No, so your son was facing prison time?
Yes, yes.
And what happened there?
So well, it's just, I know it was all God through this whole trial, because when he got arrested and he was facing the 27 years, and I was asking God, to help me. And I didn't know at the same time he was asking God that he didn't deserve this, but he would at least take 5 years. Well, when we went to court and everything happened very strange, because the lawyers couldn't get it. They were just and forth, and the judge took the case. The judge said, let me review. And so when she reviewed it, she said the most we can give this young man is 5 years.
Wow.
And I didn't know it was the 5 years that he had asked God that he would take. He's like, I know I don't deserve 27, but I'll take 5.
But he was a drug dealer?
Well, way back in the days, I kind of lived a double life. So I worked a full-time job as an accountant, and I sold drugs on the side. I started selling drugs at like 20, 21 years old. And when I did it for so many years, and when we moved and I started getting sick, I didn't want to do that no more. I had lost my job, and so my son would see what I used to do before, and he tried to do it, and they asked him if he wanted to drive something from point A to point B, and he did, and that's when he got caught.
Who asked him? Like drug dealers, or
Yeah.
or like gang members, or like cartel?
No, so
I'm you have to explain it to me, because
Okay.
I'm a little green on this.
okay, so I was born in LA, and I was raised in La Puente. So we kind of naturally hung around with like gang members, and well, we didn't call them gang members. To us, it was family.
Yeah, family.
And then when I moved to San Diego when I was 18, I thought I was grown. I thought I knew it all.
Oh, don't we all?
And I moved to San Diego, and I started working at a restaurant, and that's where I met drug dealers. And I was young. I knew both languages, both English and Spanish. So it was easy for me to be like the middle person. I wasn't intimidated. And I didn't intimidate anybody. I mean, I was little, I was skinny, I was, young. So, but one thing that I did do is when I say something, and my word is everything. So that's how everything started, I tell you. And once I left, my son
Jumped in.
jumped in and tried to do that. But then when that happened,
That
then he
must have
got
made
caught.
you feel absolutely horrible.
Oh, everything I kept asking was why? Like, why did I leave home? Like, why did I start selling drugs? Why did I? Everything was why to me, you know? And I didn't understand.
You were questioning God.
Myself.
Oh.
I was questioning
Like
myself.
yourself and your
Like,
choices.
yes, yes. Like, what were you doing? Because all these years I've always protected my kids and I always made sure they were safe.
How many kids did you have at the time?
When he got my 4 kids.
You had all four of
All
them.
4 kids.
And you were trying to support them and trying to provide for them.
Yes,
And then
and-
just one thing led to another, and you ended up.
Yeah, so when
Involved.
you know, it's hard to raise 4 kids and wanting to do it the correct way and be able to, you know, pay a mortgage, be able to have them in sports, be able to get them clothes. It's hard even as much as hard you work.
Oh yeah, with a regular job.
You couldn't do
You
it.
can't. You still can't. I mean, I have 4 kids, 4 teenagers, and getting them and providing them with clothes, them with food sometimes is very
Very
difficult.
hard.
They don't own anything designer. If it's designer, it's something we got from a secondhand store. Thank God for Savers. Have you ever been there?
Yeah, no.
Oh my gosh, we got to go. That place, I could take $100 and we could clothe a family of 6 for a whole year. It is absolutely phenomenal, and it's really nice clothes. So that's where all my stuff comes from.
See,
It's secondhand.
I mean, fortunate enough, I tell you, I had a good job. I sold drugs, so
Well, an accountant job is not bad.
yeah, so you know, I made good money and stuff. And I wish I would have had programs or somebody to teach me what to do with my money. Because when you make money like that, right away, you want to buy things you didn't have.
Well, and if you're doing drugs and you're getting money that way, the banks can tell. Like if you deposit $10,000, they report it. In fact, now it's $600.
But you learn
for
how
every
to-
$500 they have to report.
You learn how to work around it.
Well, that's what I mean. You had to learn some
Yeah.
type of system.
You have to learn how to work around it and stuff and how to do it. And, but at the same time, it's very, very stressful.
Well, and it's wrong.
You don't have peace of mind. Because I was able, I had a good job and then I did what I did. And I felt guilty.
Yeah.
I felt so guilty that I wanted to buy my kids, I should say.
Oh,
You
that
know,
happens to people.
yes.
Like it's not just somebody who comes into money like that. People always want to buy.
Yes, yes, because it's a guilt that you feel for not spending enough time or
Not being
what
there.
you're doing, and they're seeing that it's not correct. But at the same time, I had to involve them because I didn't trust a lot of people.
Yeah.
So I involved my kids in that. And
Were you involved in what you were doing?
yes,
Holy cow.
yes. So
I'm not even going to ask what you had them do because how scary. I mean, scary for like standing out here and looking in, but scary for you as a mom. You had to know that.
But it honestly, when you're in that situation and you're just worried about surviving, it comes naturally. Like you get a rush, to be honest. You get a rush from it, and you do get a little bit nervous, but then you make the friendship. Long as you're on, I mean, a lot of people think drug dealers are bad people. And I'm going to be honest. A lot of them are very, very good people. They're just in the bad situations.
And they don't know how to get out.
And they
most
don't
of
know
them.
how to get out of it. Yeah.
But you found a way. So you went to and turned to God,
I turn to God.
and your son is in there. He's the judge has taken over, and for some odd reason the judge takes over, which is not typical.
Oh, yeah. That's why I knew this was God. Because I've been through I've been in jail myself. So I've been through so many court cases because my brother's been in jail, my ex-husband, my son, my uncles. So I come from a family of
I think it would
people
kill me.
being
I
in
would
jail.
freak out if I was in jail. I don't think I could walk through a jail cell that's empty and not totally freak out because no. But
You
that's
would
a
be
strong-
surprised. You
That's
would
a
be
strong
surprised.
person.
The first time I wasn't as strong, to be honest, because my son was ripped out of my arms. The
Oh.
first time I got arrested.
How
and
old was he?
was a year and a half, going to be 2, David.
Oh my God.
And we joke around and say that was the first time he went to jail
Oh.
because they took me to the women's jail. They had took my ex-husband to the men's jail, and they had took him to
Social
where
services.
where they would take the kids and
Yeah,
stuff
social
because
services.
my sister was able to pick him up, but I wasn't scared of the consequences of the drugs. I was scared of what was going to happen with my son.
Yeah.
That's what really scared me. And then
So years goes by, right? Because David,
Yes.
is David the youngest?
David is the oldest.
The oldest.
Yeah.
So years go by, you're still doing the
Yes.
the selling of drugs.
Yes.
To feed your family.
Because mind you, from that time, after, during all, like, in between those years, my ex went to prison. So
So it was you were a sole provider then at that point.
yes. Yeah, I went to prison. He did so many jail time. He did county, he did camp, so I didn't know that all through all this, God was preparing me to learn how to be alone, to learn how to figure things on my own.
I think it's more like to learn how to stand on your own.
Yes.
Stand alone.
Yes, and how to survive.
Well, and to serve God.
Yes.
Because I think that everybody goes through, things.
Yes.
If they don't understand that God's preparing them for something bigger and better, and that's what God has done for you. He's prepared you.
But I didn't know at the time.
No.
I didn't know. I didn't know, to be honest, what was going. Now that I think of it and I go back, I'm barely at 56 finding myself of who I am and what I want and what my purpose.
I think we change though. It's like we're chameleons, really.
Yes.
We change over time. And with the environment we're in and at our age, we change.
Yes.
And so we're young and cocky at 18. You hit 30, usually most people are married around that
Yeah.
time or have kids. Then our focus shifts from, oh, what do I do for me
Yeah.
to what do I do for my family? And so we
Yes.
change for that. We get married somewhere in between, change for that. Then we come up to our mid 30s and we're like, lifestyle crisis. What's the job that I'm doing? I don't want to live like this forever. I need something better. And we
Yes.
change again. And then when we hit our 50s and we're like, change again. But I don't think it stops. I think we're constantly evolving and changing.
Yes, because
And-
we're learning.
Right. And children of God grow with God.
Yes.
So we might start off cocky. I tell you, I laugh because I am what I call a quiet Christian.
Uh-huh.
I am not the kind of person to get out on the street corners with a sign, Jesus saves you, you're going to repent or go to hell. That's not me. I'm more of, okay, I didn't even talk about my Christianity unless somebody asked me. My friends, knew I was a Christian, but they didn't know how much, because I didn't talk about it. It was personal. It's a personal relationship
Yes.
to me. And so as I've gotten older, I've gotten more bold.
Yeah.
And I've gotten more to be confident to say, hey, you know what? Take it or leave it. This is my life story, and this is how God affected me. And
Yeah.
if he does this in my life, what's he going to do in yours? Because,
Exactly.
I mean, think about it. You were selling drugs while you had babies on your hips. And yet, this is where we're at. And most of you can probably see the background here. This is your boxing gym.
Yes. And
And-
when I say selling drugs, I wasn't out in the streets selling the drugs. I would get the drugs delivered to a house, but
So you were like a mule?
we would ship the drugs out.
Yeah, like you would transport.
So yes, we would transport them out of state
Oh,
stuff. So it wasn't where I was in the streets selling that's how it started, with us having people sell for us in a neighborhood. And then it turned out where we had our drug house, where we had young
I
kids
look at you and I don't even think of you having a drug house.
selling there, and then one of the young kids got shot and killed there. So that's when we shut down, and then we started. When I say we, was my ex-husband and myself, is when we started doing it another way, and we started getting it, but we would ship it all to like New York, Rhode Island,
Wow.
Philly, Pittsburgh,
Wow, that's crazy.
And,
all right, let's jump back to your son. Your son's in the courtroom. Were you sitting inside or outside?
Oh, I was inside.
And what
Every
happened? So
step by step,
the
I
judge
was
is
there.
taking over and saying, well, I can't give him more than 5 years. What are you doing?
I'm like, that's when I realized it was all God. Because
That's the
as
moment.
I'm going through the trials and I'm going through his, I'm used to how everything works and how when you go and, they take the deal of not, you got to take it to trial. But with him, every time we would go there, they would have a difference in weight. Like they couldn't get the weight, and it was this, and it was that. So it was just, they wanted to give him 27 years. Then they wanted to, his lawyer wanted to say, you know what, not 27, let's see if we can lower it to 8. And like I said, my son was praying for 5. And at the end, when the judge came in, he said the only thing we can give him is 5 years. And that's like, thank you,
And
Jesus.
so it hit you like a bolt.
Well, yeah, because with those 5 years, good behavior, he does 2.5.
Oh, wow.
So
So you knew all that.
like, yeah. So it was like, wow, thank you, God. So then,
So then what did you do? You knew that it came from God.
so now I had to keep my promise
And what was your promise?
to open up a boxing gym
Now, why? Why boxing?
because David was in boxing. And when we were in San Diego, it kept him out of trouble. But what happened was when we came to Hemet and we wanted him to continue, he was going to be 18 years old. And the PAL program that was here at that time, if you were going to be 18, you were no longer allowed in the program.
Oh,
And so I didn't understand that because in amateur boxing, you can compete till you're like 80 years old. So,
80?
yeah.
Holy cow.
You see men competing 65, 70, and
Oh my
they're
God.
out there
Yeah,
competing
my husband talks about that ever since he's worked out here, and I'm like, no.
in amateur
we're not even
boxing.
talking about it,
Yeah,
no.
you'd be surprised. So that's how it came about. And David said, so David's old coach is Billy Moore, which is Archie Moore's son, the famous boxer. So that's who David was trained by. So he had a boxing gym, which is ABC. It's called Anybody Can.
Oh, nice.
So I remember David saying, if anybody can help you, go to Billy Moore. He'll tell you how to open it. Because he wanted me to open up a gym, which I would take people over 18.
Oh, yeah.
Because he
All
said
ages.
sometimes we think we're grown, but we're not.
Right. Well, and what happens in the gangs? You get to 18, you're out of school.
Yeah.
And that's where they get you.
Yes, because now
Because
from
you
there
don't have
on.
any guidance, right?
Exactly, and they start going to adult prison.
You don't have a family.
Exactly. And here, it's funny because we have so many kids and so many kids with the same name. So as soon as they come in here, we give them nicknames. So these kids love it, But we're a family. Nobody's better than the next.
So you opened this gym, and it was for all ages.
For all ages.
And what happened? You opened it where?
So, okay, so this is the thing. So when we're about to open it, I was going to open it under ABC with Billy Moore. So we were going to be ABC number 2, following from San Diego. So we had got the shirts. We had, the space was on San Jacinto, the street San Jacinto, by 7th. And so the CEO, the founder, Billy, he had went on a missionary work while we were discussing all this. And while he was over there, his board people sent me a letter and said that I needed to remove everything under that name, that I wouldn't be allowed to have that name. So me being who I am, I'm not going to quit. So I said, okay. And that's when I named it Boxing for Christ because of everything God had done.
Yeah.
And so we opened up Boxing for Christ. We opened it up in October, actually. October of 2011. We opened it up to see what it would be like. We started getting so many kids. So in January 14, I decided to do a grand opening.
Now, where were you though? You originally started where?
Oh, when we first started and came to Hemet, we trained a little bit of the kids in our garage because
You started in a garage.
we started in a garage because remember, they didn't want David to train, but David still wanted to train boxing. So we set up a little boxing thing in our garage.
And who was helping? He was just doing it himself?
It was my ex-husband that was training him. And then a couple of kids from the neighborhood started going also. in training there. And then from there on, when we decided to open up the gym, we opened it up in San Jacinto. Like I said, on San Jacinto Street by 7th. We opened it up there, and we were there for maybe about almost a year when we started outgrowing the place, but the rent was very high. And I was only charging $20 a month, but there was a lot of kids that couldn't pay.
Right.
So then from there, we moved to Hemet, which we became under another organization. And we were there, but it didn't really turn out great. We had a little issue that happened with that organization. So I left that organization and I decided to open up my own nonprofit, like to make it. I would always go ask for help, and people wanted to charge me like $4,000, $3,000 to make it a nonprofit. But it was either you pay the rent for the gym, or you fill out the point, pay for the nonprofit. So with God's guidance and help, my brother, my other brother, said, you know what? Let me look up the paperwork that needs to be filled out. And he printed out the paperwork, and between me and him and God, we were able to do it. And I was able to get my nonprofit and my corporation.
So the corporation and nonprofit is you're in that building, and you
Yes.
decided you had to leave the building in order to get the.
Yes, so I decided I had to leave that building. And so
Where'd you go?
actually they raised up the rent
Oh,
also too. So we had to leave that building, and we went in back of Powerhouse.
Powerhouse is a gym.
So we were in back of Powerhouse gym with
Now you were outside of the gym.
outside of the gym. Where it was like 60 degrees or 50 degrees, and they were out there training.
Wow,
it
and
would
it
be
was
110,
114 the day I
Yes.
came over. I was like blown away.
and they were out there training. But I couldn't give up on these kids because they weren't giving up on me.
Yeah.
They just wanted somewhere to train, and so we were there until I met you.
Yep.
And that was weird because let me tell you why. I had sent out letters to every city council member in Hemet, San Jacinto. I sent it to senators. I sent to Congress, and I wanted people to know what Boxing for Christ was all about. So then there was a luncheon. Brian somebody was running for Congress at Saboba
Brian
Country.
Nastandy.
Yes, he was running, and I happened to go to that luncheon because everybody had told me if you wanted people to know, you got to start meeting people and go to that luncheon.
Right.
Well, the funny part is, Chris, like me and my son get there, Danny, my younger son, and we get there with our Nikes, our Levi's, and everybody's all dressed up.
Fancy, yeah.
And we stuck out like sore thumbs, and we were like, what? Mind you, we've never been around people like that. And so as he's talking, he's saying, what he's going to do for the community and everything. And then I decide to raise my hand. And then you just see my son going like, oh my God.
He's like,
What
can
is
we
he
run
gonna-
out of here?
Yes. So I said, well, you've been saying what you're going to do for people. I said, but what are you going to do for the people? I said, I don't know what you guys call us. Hood, ghetto, projects. I don't know. I said, but we call it home. What are you planning to do for people like us? And I remember I caught him by surprise, and he was shocked. And he really didn't know what to say. He just says, oh, we'll be helping people like that. And then I remember you turning around and looking at me.
Oh,
And when it was over, you stood up and you came to me. And you said, I was just reading your letter. At that time, you were city council. You were about to
just-
be mayor, I think. Or you
Yeah.
but I
Yeah, I
remember
was-
you telling me,
right before.
I just finished reading your letter. I want to know more about your program.
Gosh, I forgot all about that.
You said, I want to know all about your program. Where are you at? You were the first person from anybody that had ever asked me. And so I told you where it was at. And sure enough, the next day you show up with your kids
Yep.
and your husband. And it was about 100, like you said, about
It was about
114,
114.
115. It was hot.
It was super hot, and there's no shade out there.
No, nothing. And you seen these kids, they were training and they
Yeah.
were working up hard.
And they wanted to be there. It wasn't
Yes.
like they were like, oh, I have to go. They were racing in there as soon as they
Yes.
could. And it was
But the
absolutely
funny part,
stunning.
your kids started going
Oh,
there
yeah.
too. They
Yeah.
started training there too. And then you were going to be running for mayor.
No, I was
You were running for,
state senate.
you were running for something.
Yeah, I was
we
running.
were at
Oh, no.
a luncheon or dinner or something, and I get a call.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell me that we have to leave Powerhouse.
Oh, that was for the 4th of July parade.
Yo, yes,
That
we
was,
were
I was
meeting.
mayor, and that was the 4th of
Yes.
July parade.
Okay, when I get the call
Yeah.
that we had to leave. They don't want us there no more. There was new ownership and we had to leave. I was like, I didn't know what to say. And you told me, wait a minute, they can't just kick you out in one day.
I said, did they give you notice?
Yeah, you said, did they give you notice? Did they say, by that time I didn't know nothing. I didn't,
You're
you
like,
know,
I don't think so.
they didn't give me. And then you said, okay, well, you go back and you tell them.
Well, I said, go find out.
Out.
And then if they tell you anything, that you just tell them that you're going to report back to me.
Yes.
I said they had to give you 30-day notice.
And I handed them your card.
Yeah. Well, no, now wait, she gets over there. You got over there and they were literally
Ready to just kick
trying
me
to
out.
take your equipment and get out.
Yeah.
And you let them know.
Yes. And to me, I had never done that because, mind you, where I come from, we didn't know who our mayor was. We didn't know who city council was. We didn't know none of that. So for me to know who the mayor was and be able to use, I'm not going to lie, it made me feel good that I was able to use your name, you know, because nobody ever defended me like that. Nobody ever cared. So they gave us a 30 days. They gave us a
Yeah,
30
you came
days.
back and I said, what happened? We were waiting and waiting and
Yes.
waiting. And as soon as you walked in, I was like, okay, what happened?
Yes.
And you told me.
And I said, you know what? I told them what you said. I handed them your card. And they said, we'll give you 30 days.
And then you asked me, you were like, what am I going to do? I don't know where I'm going to go.
Uh-huh.
And I said, you're going to talk to our city manager. Tim
Yes,
Holt.
because by that time, I remember the parks were closed.
Right. We had closed the parks because we had balanced our budget. When I
Yes.
became mayor, we balanced the budget and we did everything that in our power that we could. We closed parks. We closed fire station, police station. Well, the police station didn't close, but we were going to lose deputies. We opened all of them back up without adding a dime. This place, this building right here was costing us $70,000 a year and they helped 30 kids. 30 kids a year. That was astounding because they had to have records. Well, the records were all here. We could see all the records. That was absolutely ludicrous that we were paying 70 grand a year for this building to be a after school program, and they weren't doing what they needed to do. So closing it down, I'm like, yeah, we need to close it down. But we thought of you. Now, this building did not look like this. This has got a gym in here.
Yeah.
It's got a boxing ring. It's got equipment. You've done amazing things in here, but it was just an empty building.
Yes.
And then we had a smaller building, and he was trying to talk you into the smaller building thinking that might be a better fit.
Yes.
And you went, no, this is the building.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is the building.
We
And
need
so you rent this building from the city. You've
Yes.
been here ever since.
Yes.
But
yes.
now you're outgrowing it because you've helped so many kids.
Yes. Now I'm actually looking for a bigger building.
Right. Or to build a bigger
Or
building
to
here.
build a bigger building. And the reason is I want to add life skill classes. As you work with these youth, you realize that boxing can only get them so far.
Right.
But there's a lot of smart kids.
Well,
a lot of
the
smart kids.
boxing, and let me stop you there. The boxing helps these kids focus their anger.
Yes.
Right? Because when they're out on the street, they don't know, they got all these hormones going, they got everything going. They don't know how to deal with it, and they take it out on others. Then that's what they've seen their family
Yes.
do. And so they follow that because that's the gang as their family, right? Then once they come in here, this becomes their family.
Yes.
As you said, and now they want to change.
Yes.
But just boxing doesn't help them necessarily to make a living.
Well, no, because they get to a certain age where, they want to buy their nice clothes. They want to be able to go out with their friends. But a lot of people, they go and they ask for jobs and do you have an experience? Well, no, they have no experience. So what I want to do is I want to take it back to old school when we were going to school. And I want to be able to bring on hand-on an example, you know, the construction, floor design, mechanic, hand-on, where they can get certified.
Right, right.
Where, so I was talking to Mike Hesron, and he said, if you can make this happen, I can put it on court order that these kids would go through your program, get certified to get a job before they would get off probation.
And that would be perfect. That's exactly
Oh.
what you want to talk about reform. You want to talk about the impact that you made because you were one of them.
Yes.
And look how you reformed. And look how you've changed and blossomed. You have how many kids here now?
Oh my gosh. Overall, I think overall, to be honest, we're almost at 100. On a daily basis, between the 3 classes, we could get between like, oh my God. Different days where we get like maybe 65, then there's a day where we have 80 kids. There, so it just varies. But overall, I have over 100 kids.
Right, but over the
Period from when I first opened.
right, how many kids have you
Oh,
affected?
over 3,000.
That's what I thought.
Over 3,000 kids we have gone. We have had
3,000 kids that got out of the gang and had a shot. They had a chance to do
yes.
something better. And the exercise that they get, that release of the anger that they get, helps them build the rest of their lives.
Yes, but you know what, Crystal? It a lot has to do with the coaches. I can't take all the credit. A lot of this have to do with the coaches and the communication and
become
the
mentors.
relationship that they
Yeah.
have with the coaches. You know, I have a lot of parents. Well, not a lot, but I've had a couple of parents that have complained or have been upset because we're boxing for Christ, and why aren't all the kids Christians, or why aren't all the kids know God? But I'm a community gym. I deal with everybody, Christians, non-Christians. That's why I put quotes.
Yeah.
Boxing, Bible quotes in the gym. If I start preaching to these kids, they will,
Dispersed and be gone.
yeah, they'll be gone.
Right, right. But think about this. I mean, you kind of are like it's kind of like the Bible.
Yes.
And let me pause there because we're going to take a break. And we're going to do this in 2 parts, I believe. So we'll take a break, and when we come back, you'll hear the rest of the story.
Okay.